¿Cuál era tu concepción de judío, que ya me dijiste que
Sí.
era muy abstracto, y cuál es tu concepción actual del judío?
Es que yo creo que estoy un poco privilegiada en cierto sentido comparado con muchos jóvenes o muchos de mi edad en Alemania, que todavía muchos de ellos no conocen a judíos, saben muchísimo sobre el judaísmo, saben mucho sobre la historia alemana, pero todavía tienen un cierto miedo de encontrar a judíos porque no saben qué piensan de ellos, como son alemanes, y se sientan muy malos de encontrarlos.
Okay.
Y para mí es diferente, como tengo un marido que es israelí judío, que tengo muchos amigos judíos hoy día, no solamente en Israel, sino también en otros países que he conocido por mi libro.
Okay.
Hay muchos contactos también con sobrevivientes que lo ha hecho mucho más fácil para mí de hablar con ellos en una manera que no siento tanta vergüenza ya. Okay. De presentarme a ellos. Eso sí que lo ha cambiado mucho por mi libro.
Dime una cosa, por favor. ¿Tú eres protestante?
No soy religiosa.
Me encantaría saber cómo fue tu primer contacto con Israel, o sea, cuando me imagino que...
Sí, pues fue mucho más fácil que yo me lo imaginaba, porque he encontrado a mi marido antes de que fue mi marido en Alemania, porque estaba estudiando ahí, y pues cuando la primera vez me fue a Israel, donde vivía en ese tiempo con su familia, tenía un poco miedo de entrar al país, pero ya no tenía miedo de estar presentado a esta familia, porque ya sabía tanto antes sobre su familia que yo estaría muy bienvenida ahí, no tenía ningún problema con
¿Ellos eran Ashkenazim?
Sí, lo estás.
Gluk. No era difícil, o sea, para ti claro.
Es que no era difícil en el primer contacto ni después tampoco. Es que, como decía, ya lo he dicho, no solamente yo estuve muy bienvenida, sino también mis padres, y todavía estamos separados desde hace muchos años ya, pero todavía estamos en muy buen contacto y nos visitamos el uno y los otros, también los padres. Y la sola cosa que he notado, por supuesto, es que hay ciertos límites,
sí.
Se dice que hay ciertos límites en la conversación, algunas veces.
¿Cómo cuál?
Si estamos hablando del pasado, y normalmente no hay problema de hablar con eso. También cuando he trabajado en mi libro, he hablado muchísimo con mi marido sobre el tema, y de repente había algunos momentos donde ya estaba muy claro que estábamos en los lados, en los lados diferentes, contrarios. Pues claro, que es lógico, pero aparte de eso nunca he tenido ese problema.
¿Cómo ha contribuido tu libro a la relación, o cómo sientes que ha contribuido tu libro en la relación del pueblo judío con el pueblo alemán?
No lo he entendido bien.
Sí. Please.
How did your book contribute to the relation between both the Jewish people and the German people?
Well, this is difficult for me to judge about. This is for other people to do it, I think. But I have the impression that it was very important above all for many survivors. I'm always realizing I have been presenting my book in many places in the last years, and also in different countries, and every time there have been also survivors in the audience, and some of them have come in a very open way, others have been quite distant, some of them even angry, wanted to blame me, and in the end it was always very uncomplicated. I got in very good contact with them, and I'm still with many of them I'm still in very good contact. So I have the feeling that I was always told by them that it was so important for them to see that finally one of this family is going into clear distance to the past. It was very important for them to hear it and to see it written. So it's, I think it offered a certain way of building bridges between two sides. And if I see my son nowadays, who is half coming from a perpetrator's family and half from a survivor's family, I have the impression that he's very good in building these bridges between both sides. He does it so easily. He feels so well in both worlds and makes friends on both sides so easily. It's really a pleasure to see it, how uncomplicated.
I was wondering the other day, I saw you speaking, and
at the university.
At the university. And do you have any clue about what happened? How a civilized people just switches to, after everything you have investigated?
The problem is no one really can explain it until nowadays, and I think the deeper you go into it, the more you know about, the less you understand it. For me, it's not understandable.
Did you understand why your predecessor, your great uncle, did this after all your investigation?
No,
can you relate to what he did?
What do you mean by relate?
Can you understand the context he was in?
This is what I try to understand, to understand his context of thinking, this is, I think it's the most difficult thing, the most difficult effort you have to try to do, to understand how the perpetrators were thinking, what was their perverted moral they had, because it was not that they were immoral, they had a moral, their own one, but it was very, very perverse. And it cost me a lot to get into it, to understand how they were thinking. And I think for Heinrich Himmler is an exemplar, very exemplaric for this thinking of that he was very convinced that he was always dealing very decent. He was very convinced all the SS was decent in his eyes, and it was very important for him to do that. It was just that he was not killing because of hate. It was not no hate murder. It was no sadistic murdering. It was just a job that had to be done in his eyes. And this makes it so hard to
it was a duty.
to follow it. Pardon?
It was his duty. It was his duty.
His duty.
He had
Yes,
to do.
it was the duty of this SS. They were doing it for the German